Good evening, everybody. How the devil are you all? I hope all is well in your part of the world, wherever that may be, wherever you may be. And welcome to Travel Blog Jamie and this our Monday Night Live. Feels like a long time ago we last did our Monday Night Live. You're still doing the countdown. Hey, look, you're doing the countdown, aren't you? Yes, 23. And I'm already here talking. My goodness me, you are out of practice, some of you. You really are. Anyway, welcome, as I said, to our Monday Night Live. We've got a lot to get through, as always. I try to do everything within an hour, including all of your questions answered. But do hold fire with those questions. I can see Lost Ashore. Gotta get lost to get found. You gotta get lost to get found. Hey, is in the house, and she's a very good moderator. So be warned, she's watching you. She's always watching. And she will probably remind everyone, don't ask questions yet. He'll tell you when you can ask them because he won't see them otherwise. That's normal. She speaks like that, by the way. Don't tell him yet. That's how she talks, by the way. That's exactly how she talks. With a northern accent. That's all. Very, very, very thick northern accent. So, yes. I can see she's already there. Good evening, or good evening here, good evening there. Anyway, can we have a little check-in? Teeny weeny cheeky check-in. Write your numbers in the comments below. 1 meaning you need immediate check-in and support. People are lovely in this community and they'll always check in on you. A 10 meaning you're sailing all the way to Hawaii with your clothes off, swinging them around, or something like that. That's not what I did, by the way, before anyone says anything. I'm quite perky. I know I only flew home yesterday and everyone's been saying, oh, you're jet lagged. I'm perky. I'm good. I put myself up maybe an 8.5, 9. I don't remember the last time I put myself at that. Looks like we have a bit of a mixed bag tonight, don't we? We've got a 5 all the way up to a 9. Please do check in on one another, certainly if someone's not feeling it. Vicky is a 10. We've got a 10 in the house. Vicky is a new mum, and a mumma, and we've all seen pictures of the baby. Dashund, that is, by the way. She didn't give birth to one, by the way. Obviously not. Oh my goodness, no. Yeah, look at this. I feel like you're all a bit mixed tonight, aren't you? Look at you all. Well, anyway, we will, of course, be checking in with one another. It feels like I'm in the perkiest of moods. So before I get cracking, can I just remind everyone, please, it'll be amazeballs if you could give this a cheeky thumbs up, not in the chat, the thumbs up sign. You click on the thumb up like that, and it raises my self-esteem. It really does. Also, thank you very much. Did it happen whilst I was away? Past the 36,000 mark on YouTube. That's quite awesome, isn't it? I think that's fabulous. But I haven't looked. I think I've already passed the 36,400 and something mark in the last week or something. So that's awesome. You and I are heading for 37,000. I want to get to 40,000 by like May-ish time. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It will be mucho apreciado. You can also follow me, of course, on Book, where I post gazillions and gazillions of pictures to bore everyone senseless. The good thing about Facebook is that I post something from my travels every single day. And so it's not necessarily live time, normally like a day or so behind. But you'll see everything. I'm on X, Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Travelblog Jamie. Come on over to Patreon. There's now, when I looked earlier, 541 patrons, which is mind blowing. It really is completely mind blowing. So thank you for your support over there. That group do get lifetime pictures and comments and little videos from me when I'm away. Obviously, they're like members, so that's what they get. And I'm on top of your postcards, by the way. tiers 4 and 5. They'll be sent this weekend. And Cameo. I had to do some really funny Cameo videos for people, for their loved ones or not quite loved ones, for Valentine's Day. That was fun. I like that. If you need a belated Valentine's to someone, I'm your man. If you want to tell someone that they're dumped, I'm your man. You want a proposal, a wedding proposal? I'm your man. I can do all of that. I can. Gender reveals for Bambini? I'm your man. All that kind of jazz, you know. So come on over to all of those wild places. You'll be most welcome. Now, I've got a question for you, actually, where I would love it if you could drop your comments in the chat. I'm going to talk through some cruises I've booked over the last week shortly, 2 of which I'm very excited about. The other one is more like just, oh God, get lots of footage for you. Get lots of footage. I would like to know from you, lovelies, 2 things. One is, what cruise line would you most like me to sail that I haven't sailed before? Okay, you might not remember all of those, so don't worry. There's been a lot I've sailed on. But which cruise line would you like to see me vlog about? And or which cruise ship would you like me to vlog about? Which? It can be out of the box if you want it to be. I don't mind. But I'd love to hear from you, actually. And we've already got quite a range. Look, Oceania, Explorer, Saga. You lot go with all the expensive ones, don't you? I've done Ambassador, thank you. Holland America, Seabourn, Viking. You really do like your expensive cruise lines, don't you? Oh my goodness me. Ambassador again. I've done Ambassador. All the vlogs there. MSC World Europa in particular. We've got another Holland America, Viking again, Holland America. Ambience, Hertgrutten, I can't say that. Oceania, the Disney Treasure. What about a Disney Adventure? That's coming out next year. NCL, NCL coming up. In fact, my next cruise, my next adventure in March is on Norwegian. Oh, we can have Regency. Queen Elizabeth. I haven't done Elizabeth. I've done the others, haven't I? He is old enough for Saga. Thank you very much. What was I saying? Disney Adventure is out in January next year, sailing from Singapore. I did actually look at that one. Treasure, maybe. Poseidon Expeditions, White Link, thank you very much. Brittany Ferries, thank you very much. Actually, there is something to be said for doing a short sort of mini cruise via ferry. That's something that I'd be interested in doing, definitely. We've got Azamara, Saga again. Saga's so expensive. Celebrity, did Celebrity, but I probably need to do it again. Havila, or is it Havila? I know the cruise line. I've been looking into that one. More Azamara. Okay, thank you. Red Funnel, done that one. Thank you so much. Yes, the food is excellent on Disney. I've done Disney 3 times now, and I have to say I have a massive soft spot for Disney. A cruise line that sails from, how do you say that? Rosyth. I thought it was spelled R-O-S-Y. Maybe I've got that wrong. I'm not from those parts. Fred Olsen sails from there. Definitely. Mersey Ferry, etc. Celestial, yes, I was looking at them today as well, actually. Yes, Tony, I know you had a mixed time of NCL. I'll find out for myself. So next month, that's it. I'm going to be sailing on Norwegian Joy. It's just a short cruise out of Miami to the Bahamas and back. And I'll be spending a few nights in Miami as well, in a couple of different hotels. Got some friends over in the US who are going to fly on in as well, which will be fabulous. Yes, Captain Wesley's going to be on the Fantasy, by the way. The Fantasy, but he's not on board when I would be able to go on Fantasy. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it at all. So that'll be my next trip. It will be Norwegian. It's on Norwegian Joy, and a bit of Miami and a bit of Bahamas. So looking forward to that one. Right. Okay. Thank you for your feedback. Basically, any that cost a fortune is what you're suggesting. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. After my next cruise, which I believe is on the 7th of March, mid-March, I'll be off to Goa on my land-based holiday, or at least mostly land-based. Halfway through that trip, I will be sailing. I'm not even sure what the name of the river is, but I'm going to be on a houseboat river cruise, which I am very much looking forward to. And at the very end of March, Matthew and I are going on, I think it's Morella Explorer, I think, for a Hairy Canaries cruise. A bit of, oh God, the trains are out in force tonight. I haven't missed listening to these trains when I've been away, that's for sure. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. We're on Morella, I think Explorer, Hairy Canaries, a bit of Madeira. Looking forward to that very much. So those are the next few trips coming up. So let's talk a little bit about Ruby Princess and the experience I've just had to Hawaii, Ensenada. The most common question I've had today, by the way, online is, are you jet lagged? Because I flew back in yesterday, arrived at 11 a.m. yesterday. So yesterday, I didn't sleep very much on the plane. I think I was too excited to come home. 20 nights away felt like a long time. So I was super excited to get back. I think I cried before I went to sleep as well. I was so happy to be home. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy to be home. So yes, am I jet lagged? I didn't see much on the plane yesterday when I was like literally like nodding off, sat upright. I had to make myself stay awake, because if I had gone to sleep yesterday, I never would have slept last night. So I went to bed last night absolutely smashed, and I slept all the way through the night until we got up at 7 a.m. Always get up with Matthew when he's off out to work, and I've been fine ever since. So fingers crossed. I'm a bit puffy and a bit sort of bleary-eyed, but otherwise I'm doing well. I'm rocking this not getting jet lag thing at the moment. I think maybe because I'm cruising a lot and traveling a lot, so I'm getting used to it. Hey, good. So Ruby Princess, the model of ship, the configuration, very familiar to me, not just because of the P&O ships, Azura and Ventura, but some of the other princess ships as well, which I've sailed on before, like Emerald Princess and Crown Princess, for example. So very familiar. Very sort of, the interior is very sort of dark wood. They're going for sort of classic, traditional feel, a little bit of elegance here and there. I liked it. And I feel, on reflection, spending 16 nights on board, it really did feel very much like home at times to me. Getting back on board the ship after each port of call felt quite nice and homely and cozy, actually. I liked it. All the cabins, I believe, most of the cabins had been sold out. But of course, the kids were at school. So the 3 and 4 berths weren't full. I know that because I was given a 4 berth with the bunks on the walls. In the bed in the middle, bunks on the walls, you can't actually walk around. You can't walk around properly unless you're like literally leaning over. So I pushed the beds against the side, so I had a big bit of floor space. Now this was interesting. Someone decided to tell me that I was awful because I'd basically given the cabin attendant much more work, having put the 2 beds to the side as a double. And I'm like, well, I don't understand how that can be, because if I left it as it was, the cabin steward can't even get around the bed to make the bed without either banging his head or having to constantly be leaning. But also, what happens if it was made up as a twin? That's double the work, surely. And what happens if there were 4 people there and that someone's making 4 beds? Surely that's a lot more work than 1 double bed. I mean, I'm sorry, but meat sandwich came to mind. What a weird thing to say. Regardless of that, and I'm not trying to make the life difficult for any cabin steward or stewardess, it's my bloody holiday and I paid for it. So if I want beds up against the wall, that's where they're going. Soz, not soz. Just want to get that out of my system in case you didn't realize. It's out now. It's out there. So Ruby Princess, yes, nice. Good thing about it as well I was a little bit worried about how much smoke I would be able to smell around the ship because on Caribbean Princess it was a very smoky ship, and you may remember my cabin was sucking in smoke from somewhere. It was gross and it made me ill. And I was a little bit anxious about that with Ruby Princess, but I needn't have been worried. Um, my cabin smelled as it ought to smell. There was no smoke. And whilst you can smoke in part of the casino on Ruby Princess, the extraction, the fans, whatever, were working much better than they did on Caribbean Princess. So it wasn't seeping into the piazza. It wasn't seeping into Crooner's Bar, for example, like it was on Caribbean Princess. And this is not me being anti anyone who's smoking, by the way. I want to make that very clear. I just personally don't like the smell of it. And I don't want it in my cabin, for example. You know, and I think that's reasonable to say that. So I was very relieved on Ruby that didn't have those issues. Very relieved indeed. The crew were and I will say 99.9% were phenomenal. I felt so welcomed everywhere I went, and you know, there's always somebody there smiling, wishing you well, asking if you're okay, what you've been up to, what you like most about port, and doing the absolute best to make sure you're served as quickly as possible. You know, everything. The quality of the staff, the crew on board was very high indeed, and it felt like usual Princess to me. I'm not going to go into the details right now of one person who was outrageous to the point where his managers actually told him to leave and then apologized to me profusely for the way that he'd spoken to me. It was outrageous, and I've explained it in the vlog. I didn't want to focus on it too much because I had such a lovely time, and I wasn't going to let one person's attitude ruin my time. I didn't. So that will come through the vlog. It's just a smallish segment to explain what happened, but you know, for managers to be absolutely horrified by their member of staff and apologize to me and tell me what they were going to do about it was something else. The other 99.9%, phenomenal, absolutely wonderful. Food on board, which is often a question. I felt like the food on board in the main dining room was a bit mixed. And I didn't feel that it was necessarily always up to standard, if I'm honest with you, some of the food. More so in the second week, for some reason. It just lacked flavor. And when I say that, please don't mistake what I'm saying for, oh, he just likes chili and everything. He doesn't. I don't like chili in me roast dinners. I made a lovely casserole tonight with dumplings, by the way. No chili in that, my darlings. No, 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 no. It was the flavor that was lacking. And I couldn't wait to, you know, I do like my curries, and very often you get fabulous curries on board cruise ships, especially where there's a chef making it who's from particular areas where they specialize in that kind of cuisine. It's exciting. It was so bland. So I spoke to the manager and I'm like, can I just ask, I like these curries, why are they so bland and why this? And they actually said to me, oh, I've been saying this. And another member of crew stood there listening, went, and they said something to the effect of, the chefs have been told you have to stick to these ingredients and you have to cook it like this, even if it's against the chef's sort of better knowledge of cooking a particular dish. And there was not really much we could do about that, to be honest with you. Just some of it, not all of it. Some of it was bland, that's all. Sabatini's was exceptional. The Italian food I had there, the pasta I had there was absolutely exceptional. Some of the best pasta I've had anywhere, actually. I went to the Crown Grill, the steakhouse, and as always, that was fabulous. I'm not really a steaky, too much of a meaty person, to be honest with you. I mean, meaty, but not consuming too much. So I go and I enjoy it, and I think I won't go to a steakhouse again now until I'm probably back on board Princess. So, but it was very, very good. The Salty Dog Gastropub as well on board. I loved it. They do a grilled cheese dish, and it's like a really decadent, luxurious kind of white tomato soup with your grilled cheese, your cheese toasties, I suppose we would call them in the UK, that you dip. So I had that for my starter 3 times. Oh, but the main courses were great. Again, I don't like burgers very much. A fried chicken burger, Matthew will tell you, I'm fussy as anything with it. I tried one in there, and it was absolutely beyond exceptional because it was nice and thin, it was crispy, and it was golden. The sauces that they made were absolute perfection. The greens in it just gorge. Loved it. So some of the food was fantastic. The buffet, I think, was a bit mixed, if I'm honest with you. Sometimes I thought it was great, other times just lacked in flavour. So I think a bit more consistency with some of the food would be my main critique. Excursions remain very overpriced as well. Although I took advantage of quite a number of them on this occasion, having never been to Hawaii before, having run out of time to do more research that I wanted to do. Hawaii was up there, in my opinion, with the best destinations I've ever been to. And I didn't think it was going to be that good. It was up there with Bali for me in terms of that cultural experience, that immersion. And every island, I didn't expect every island to look and feel so different and offer so much. It was beyond exceptional. I cried when we sailed into our first port of call, which was Kauai. And I cried every day I was in port. And I cried when we left. Don't you worry. I didn't film all of that for you. I didn't. I filmed the arrival because I think that is quite a momentous occasion when you're going somewhere like that and so far away. I mean, it's like over 2,000 miles from the west coast of the US. I didn't even know until I went on the cruise and I started doing some research on the sea days that it's the most isolated, populated landmass in the whole world. I didn't even know that. I've got people saying to me, "Oh, it's not that far from America," and I like screenshotted a map, and I'm like, "Oh, it's quite a long way, actually." I didn't know that one of the islands we went to is made up of 5 volcanoes. That's Big Island, otherwise known as Hawaii, the Big Island of Hawaii. And we went to 2 ports, though. We went to Kona. Yes, Kona coffee. Yes. Thank you, Kona. And we went to Hilo as well, which is the wettest city in the whole of the US. Although it was sunny that day. Yes, I brought the sun. But I didn't realize that island was made up of 5 volcanoes. Who knew? I only knew that because I went on a volcano trek and our guide was telling us. And the volcano trek, when I booked it, I didn't know anything about it. I thought, oh, that'll be interesting. I did that in Lanzarote. And some of you were messaging me before and saying, "Oh, Jamie, there's a volcano erupting. Are you going anywhere near it?" I'm like, "Oh, no, that's miles away." It was miles away at the time. But it happened to be the volcano that I did the trek around, the crater. And it stopped erupting 2 days prior to the trek and started erupting again 2 days after. It's not an explosive volcano. It's one that emits a lot of lava. There are a lot of lava flows, and they're able to predict the direction and speed and all that sort of stuff. It's fascinating. But I have to be honest with you, looking down into that crater was otherworldly. It was absolutely phenomenal. All the steam vents, all the smoke, all the gas emissions everywhere, with this little hotel perched on the edge of this crater. I mean, I was just in awe. I sent Matthew messages saying, "Oh my God, look at this, look at this, look at this volcano, look at all the smoke." And his response to me was, "Be careful." I'm not going to run down there or anything. You can't run down there. Oh my God. Can't. Oh, no, of course not. But one of the great things about the little hotel perched on the edge is they had a coffee shop and they did iced coffee. So I was sort of sat looking into the crater thinking, "Oh, that smoke, there's more and more smoke." I filmed that. Having my iced coffee, it was gorge. Waterfalls, beautiful. Rainforest. I did a river cruise, the Fern Grotto. What I realized I was doing, because my camera in hand ready to film stuff, take photos, what I realized I was doing after a while is I literally looking up constantly. So I thought I'm going to actually take some pictures like down here just every now and then, and they came out so well, and I was so pleased. And it didn't look like I had a double or treble chin or anything either, so winner. But I just literally in awe. I did a marine wildlife boat tour from Kona as well. And you may have seen, I posted on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you're a patron, you would have seen this before everyone else, of course. Humpback whales breaching fully out of the water. And I only posted one clip. However, I saw that happen multiple times, and whales swimming right by our boat, all caught on camera as well. I didn't know I'd caught it on camera, by the way, because I wasn't looking through my lens at what was happening. I literally had my camera here, and I was just recording every now and then. And I only realized after, when I got back on board, looking at thinking, oh my God, a lot of this has come out. I didn't want to miss that visual, that moment, by being on my phone looking through the lens. So I'm so pleased that so much of that came out so clearly and so well. I can't wait to show you all of that in the vlogs. So and the luau I went to was so much fun. All that dance representing different Polynesian islands. The feast that we had, the Mai Tais, they were very strong. AF. Look, the whole experience of Hawaii was just incredible. If you've never been and you're not sure whether you want to go, just go. Find a way of getting there, whether you're going to fly via Las Vegas or LA, I don't know. Just get there, or by cruise ship. Go. It's incredible. And don't just stick, although the port areas we went to were beautiful, please don't just stick to the port areas. Go and do something. Go and see something as well. Incredible. I don't say that lightly now, okay? What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, and then we had 5 sea days. I did a lot of editing, actually. I'm ahead of schedule, hurrah. And then we arrived into Ensenada, Mexico. And some people have a really jaded or unfavorable opinion about Ensenada. Some of those people have never even got off the ship at Ensenada. I thought it was such a charming town. I really did. The people were lovely. People were saying to me, "Oh God, you're going to get pestered constantly. People on the streets asking for money. People on the streets trying to sell you stuff." Did that happen? Yeah. It's happened more in other places. But you know what was so lovely about it? They were so respectful. When I was like, "No gracias," they were like this, and they just left me alone. They were just very polite and respectful. They really were. And I think there's a lot to like about Ensenada, especially some of the street food. I wanted to hunt down somewhere, and I did. And my goodness me, it was incredible. Also, hands down, the best salsa I have ever had anywhere on the planet so far. So yeah, I thought it was great. And they clearly invested money in that port and the whole town as well. I went there about 10 years ago, and it definitely looks improved in some areas, and it looks very rustic in areas, and I love that. Of course, it's their home, absolutely fabulous. So listen, it was just beyond, and I've really struggled to articulate how I felt about the experience, how I felt about the islands, because it didn't feel real for a long while. It really didn't feel real. So please go if you can. I'm going to go back, I hope. There's one comment I made when I'm departing the islands, which was sincere. It was absolutely genuine. I'm looking around and I say, I think to the camera, I just wonder if I'll ever see this again in my lifetime. You never know what's around the corner, do you? So I just felt very fortunate to have seen it all, and I want to go again if there's an opportunity. So yeah, well, that's the thing about affording it, isn't it? I wrote an article for Sail Away magazine based on how I always thought Hawaii would be out of reach in terms of finances. But you know what? When you can get a return flight to San Francisco for £460, which is incredible, And if you were sharing a cabin on that cruise, it would have been some people paid very little for it. It's actually less expensive than doing some Mediterranean cruises. So it's about looking hard and hopefully having some flexibility of time as to when you can go. Okay. I thought it would be out of reach, and it ended up being a cheaper cruise than some of the others I've done over the last year, that's for sure. So don't discount it just because you think it's not going to be manageable. How you cope in a seat for that long? Well, the fact is, John, you don't stay in the seat for the whole thing. You get up and you have a walk around, you do a bit of exercise. People are frequently doing that. There are areas of the aircraft as well where there's a bit of space and people aren't sort of stood around or anything. So you don't know until you try these things. I thought it went quite quickly, actually. It was 10 hours and 15 minutes there. It's taken me 10 hours to get to Florida before with strong headwinds. So I thought that was very reasonable, personally. So there are many ways you can do it. Yeah, Audrey says fly over, go with Matthew. Matthew won't fly that far. And that's not because it's uncomfortable or anything. I just think the distance there, he doesn't necessarily feel is worth what you're doing when you arrive at the destination. So I'll be working on it because I'd like to go to Bali with Matthew as well. So there you go. That was the experience. The vlogs are already coming out. The flight experience is already out. San Francisco I released yesterday. I loved my time in San Francisco, and it is definitely one of my favorite cities around the world as well. So the feedback on the vlog is very positive, and I thank you very much for that. I loved making that vlog. It made me smile from ear to ear. So maybe that was a good sign. I've also already edited the first feature-length vlog of the cruise in Hawaii, etc., and that made me smile a lot. Part 2, I'm just beaming editing that. So they're on their way, folks. The cabin tour as well is out on Wednesday, and then the first feature length is out on Saturday. I've got you covered. On that note, I should just say as well, the Costa video that I had to pause for a period of time. And the reason it was paused for so long is because the changes I needed to make could not be done on my phone while I was sailing. So I did them yesterday as soon as I got home. It's all processed, and I've now unpaused it. It's not private anymore. And so you can watch that at your leisure. And there's a link to it on my Facebook page from today and on Instagram as well. Or you can just search, can't you, Travelog Jamie Costa, and it will come up. Right, got all that out of the way. So I wanted to just quickly tell you, how am I doing for time? Yeah, that took a bit longer than usual, but there was a lot to talk about. So I've booked 3 cruises in the last week. The first one, that is a teeny weeny cruise. I just squeezed it into June the 7th, is on Royal Caribbean Independence of the Seas. Now, if you've followed me for some time, you'll know I've already sailed on Independence. But it's been a number of years. So that's just a Southampton to Belgium. I probably won't even get off, actually, having been to Bruges a billion times, and make the most of the ship and its many, many facilities. That's not the bucket list one, however. My bucket list cruises that I've booked, both with Princess, actually. The first one is next April 2026. So my 2026 cruises are now starting to fall into place. It's on the 16th of April. It's on Crown Princess, and I'm going to be cruising Australia. I will be going out there a little bit before the cruise and staying for a little bit after as well. I've got plans, ideas, places I want to see, but essentially it's Brisbane, Sydney, Port Arthur, Hobart, I think it's pronounced, which is in Tasmania, and Melbourne as well. And I know there are a number of you out there who've been saying you want me to visit Australia and vlog about that experience. So your wish is my command. Okay, that one's happening, and that is definitely bucket list. 19th of September 2026, I'll be on Discovery Princess. and I'll be doing my first Alaskan cruise as well, which is also bucket list for me. So I'll be spending some time in Vancouver. In fact, some of our lovely followers and subscribers are based in Vancouver, so it might be that I get to see a couple of you. Who knows? Then off to, and please forgive my pronunciation. I think it's Ketchikan. Is that right? Ketchikan. Endicott Arm for scenic cruising, Juneau and Skagway, however that's pronounced. So those two cruises are definitely bucket list. They're spread out nicely in 2026 as well. If you notice, like April, September, of course, Northern Norway in search of the Northern Lights with Fred Olsen. That's my group cruise on the 4th of January. That is also rather bucket list. I've always wanted to do a cruise like that in the winter time. I'm very excited about it. And there are now 44 people booked onto my group cruise, which is amazing. It's been a month and a half since launching it. I've been told today as well that the solo cabins are going very quickly and there aren't many left. And I'm saying that to anyone out there who has told me that they're going to book and they're just waiting for the right time. So I wouldn't want you to miss out on that opportunity. So just bear that in mind, okay? So I'm really pleased. I think there's going to be at least 50 to 60 of us on that cruise. My goal, to not look like a total lemon, was to hopefully have 15 of us. So I'm really pleased there's going to be such a great group. And I will be in touch with Fred Olsen in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to come up with a list, a menu of activities and things that you can opt into and we will do as a group. There's already a drinks reception that will be laid on for you as a part of the cruise anyway. That's like a perk. So make sure you fill your boots that evening, won't you? And I think that's going to be hosted by one or more of the officers, which is very kind of them. We'll do a group excursion. We will have one of the rooms off the main dining room to eat as a whole group. There will be opportunities for us to do specialty dining together. Apparently, I'm doing a Q&A in the lounge at some point with the entertainment manager or something like that. Oh, and cocktail making class that apparently is quite live, all that sort of jazz. So if you're interested in coming on our group cruise, which is going to be awesome, it's on the 4th of January, 2026. All the details are pinned to the very top of my Facebook page. Those of you on Patreon who said you're coming, but you haven't booked yet, you've got the details on there as well. Okay, but don't leave it too late. I don't want anyone to miss out on that. Okay. Let me just check that I've covered everything I want before. I have covered everything I wanted before handing over to you, lovelies, for your questions. Now, oh my gosh, you've only got 108 thumbs up. Have I done that bad a job? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm ready for your questions right now. If you posted something earlier, I won't have seen it. So I apologize. I'm going to start with David, who says, did you book airfare separately? Absolutely. Can I just say, when I looked at NCL and they offered flights as well, my goodness me, they charged a fortune. My flights booked independently with Virgin Atlantic were only £460. When I was looking at combined flights with MCL for Miami, it was a ridiculous amount of money. And then I got them with British Airways for 500 and something. Yet on NCL, they were going to charge more than double. So personally, I think booking independently is a good thing. The one cruise line I think are more fair when it comes to adding on flights for you that are more reasonably priced are actually Cunard. But that's just been my experience when I've been doing research. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. There's 10 people who just went click, 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 click. Thank you. How about a South Seas cruise? Can it be done affordably? I think that's more tricky to do affordably in terms of how far away it is to fly, or, you know, from Hawaii, I think you're looking at 4 or 5 sea days from Hawaii to get there. So I I have thought about the South Seas, but I've thought more about doing land-based, if I'm honest with you. Yes, I bought. Oh no, I drank Kona coffee, but I didn't bring any home with me. My luggage allowance would probably have struggled. I actually took my biggest case for the first time, and I was just under the limit. And because I wanted to bring a few other things home, which I did. Oh, here's one of them. This was included in the price of the luau. Jermaine's luau. Look, I had to bring that glass home. I had to. Cheers, by the way. Fizzy, sugar-free orange. I know how to live. I really do. Lost Joys answering some people's questions. Any plans for Disney parks? Can I just check, because I get asked that a lot. You know that I've done a lot of Disney, don't you? Like nearly every year for the last 25 years, and I got oodles of vlogs on it. In fact, last summer Matthew and I spent 3.5 weeks there, which is all vlogged. So and also last year I did Disneyland Paris again. So I don't have any plans for Disney parks because I feel like we did so much and not enough has opened there to warrant me rushing back. When it comes to Epic Universe, however, I will be going to Epic Universe, but you'll also be aware I have been to Universal on 2 occasions within the last year, all vlogged as well. In fact, Matthew and I were only there in November. Here's the thing, as a UK resident going to Epic Universe in 2025, you're limited to how many days you can go. If I bought the 2-week Universal Pass, I can only go for 1 day. If I wait until 2026, I can go as many days as I want with that Universal Pass. So I'm probably going to wait until 2026. Also, it gives time for all the workers, the new staff, new theme park, for everything to sort of smooth out a little bit, you know? So the Disney thing, I have so many vlogs on Disney, having just last summer been there for 3.5 weeks, and previous to that many times. So next year, 2026, I would say. Okay, Donna, a bit of an odd question. Been just wondering how long an iPhone lasts. As you know, you use it for film and editing all the time. As I've never had an iPhone that I've had to exchange for another because it's slowed down or stopped working ever. I've now got an iPhone 15. Some of you might remember a number of months ago I said, oh my god, I finally upgraded my iPhone like 12 or something to 15. Someone was asking me yesterday as well about storage space and how I manage with an iPhone. It's because when it comes to my iPhone, I needed something very basic but with a lot of storage space, and that's what I bought. It's as simple as that. So I can easily store 6,000 video clips on my iPhone. But you also know, don't you, that I edit on the go. And once I've done something or a segment and I've done a file output for it, I then delete all of the footage because I want the end result, not all the little clips in between. So I'm constantly working in that way. And I haven't had an issue with it yet, thankfully. So yeah, iPhones all the way. So I think I've answered the question about not bringing home any Kona coffee. If I'm honest with you, we have a coffee roasters down the road from us who invited me for a tour there in September. We went back just before I went away, and we have bought so many bags of coffee. It was amazing. They ground it all for us there. We've got some different blends. We have so much coffee at home, and it's excellent coffee. If you want to buy any, by the way, online, and I don't get, there's no commission or anything like that. I'm just recommend it to you because it's amazing coffee. Some of it's award-winning. I think it's very, very reasonably priced. If you go out and buy jars of coffee, then stop doing that and buy from this. It's called Anvil Coffee, Anvil. You can order it all online. They'll roast it for you. They'll grind all the coffee beans and they'll send it to you like a really quick turnaround. So again, I'm saying that because I know it's excellent, not because I'm going to get anything from it. Okay, I promise. It's amazing. Okay, let's see. People are saying about editing. Lost Shore saying she edits on iPhone and then all the comments went. I haven't been on Island Princess. Um, Someone's talking about favourite somethings, but I don't know what. And then everyone's saying you've got no chance of Jamie answering that. If it's, I do answer your questions when you say what's your favourite this, that, and the other. If it's my favourite cruise line, I'm just going to assume someone has asked me favourite cruise line or favourite ship. I don't have one. I've been on so many, and there are so many variables that makes it a good cruise. It can be solely the itinerary that makes it an amazing cruise. It can be the crew, it can be the weather, it can be other passengers. You can go on the same ship twice and have a totally different experience. So I don't have favorites, but I have said previously some of the cruise lines I've enjoyed most over the last year or so would be Disney, Virgin, Fred Olsen, for very different reasons. Morella actually come out quite strongly with me in terms of the itineraries. They're so port heavy. I love that. Really interesting ports as well, and nice fun ships. No sort of pretense. I do like a bit of Cunard. I probably enjoy Queen Mary 2, Queen Victoria more than Queen Anne. Queen Anne for me is right in the middle of P&O and Cunard. It's neither one nor the other. It's in the middle. And I think they've done that on purpose. Mr. Ludlow knows what he's doing with that, doesn't he? But it's not totally Cunard, in my opinion. Sorry if that offends anyone. It's how I feel about it. So those are sort of cruise lines that I've really very much enjoyed. I do enjoy my Princess cruises. I just feel every time I've done a cruise with them, there's just been something that's not quite right. Like slight inconsistency with food on the one I've done. That one person who was incredibly rude, for example, but then everything else was great. But you don't quite forget those things. Whereas on the other cruise lines I've just mentioned that stand out for me, I didn't have any comments like that to make. So they have to be, in my opinion, that they're at the top of their game in terms of what I experienced, at least. So, I'm scrolling, and Dawn, what's your favorite cruise line? Ta-da! Now it all makes sense. I think I've answered that now, though, haven't I? And then Lost Shore says you have no chance of answering that. I've got you. You lot know me well, don't you? And if you're new to me, I'm sorry about my cray. You'll get to know me. Right. Mandy, I was thinking the same, Lost Shore. Mary says, heads up for anyone. New passports came a couple of weeks ago. My husband signed below the line instead of above. Just called the passport office. A new passport needed. Yeah, be careful about where you're signing. I've got an appointment tomorrow in London to go and have a meeting to then get a passport tomorrow on the same day. They then make it for you within 4 hours. And I've never done that before. The reason is because I travel so often now, I really risk not being able to go on my next trip because my passport might not arrive in time. So I'm actually going to London and having it created for me, and I'll be bringing it home, and I'll be sure to sign in the correct place. So thank you, Mary, for that. I've read about that, actually. Much appreciated. Very helpful indeed. Lost Shore. Oops, Mary, do you have to pay again? Yeah, it's a mistake. So £88. Yeah, you might as well have gone to London and had it done then. It would have cost just a little bit extra than what you will have paid. They will have told you where to sign and everything. So I haven't been on Island Princess. Island Princess was one of the options for the Alaska cruise. The problem with that being it sailed from Vancouver, and then I can't remember the port near Anchorage. You have to disembark there, and then you have to fly from Anchorage back to Vancouver or another airport, and then fly home. And the prices of flights in Canada between cities and towns, actually, when I looked for the dates, was really high. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying an extra $500 just to go a short distance to get my actual flight home. So that's the only reason I wanted to go on Island Princess. I'm very happy with Discovery, though. I haven't been on Discovery. I've been on Regal and Sky, but I think Discovery was launched after those from memory. So it'll be familiar, with a little bit of a different sheen. Donna, is San Francisco safe to visit for a solo traveler while I'm still here? Um, I don't see why not. You know what? Before I went, a few, when you post something on Facebook and you're really excited, like people know I've been super excited to go back to San Francisco because I loved it the first time, but it was only there for one day on visiting by cruise ship. I was so excited. And it's always disappointing when you sort of share that excitement and you post your pictures flying there, and someone says, "Oh, be careful of this, be careful of that, and it's got this kind of problem, it's got that kind of problem. Don't go here, don't go that." Someone said it's a dump. I'm like, "Hello, I'm literally about to go to somewhere I'm really excited about. Can you not just zip it?" Or I don't know. I just find that really weird. Maybe it's because I do this often and people are desensitized to it, but I'm not. It's like if you are going on holiday and you post pictures of something, you wouldn't expect your friends or family to post back and say that's a dump, that's horrible, don't do. I find that really weird. Is it just me? Any questions or comments to make on that? Maybe it's just me. I find it very weird. So I had these people saying this, and I went there, and I remember walking down from my hotel to some of the attractions, which were nearby, and I had that person's comment in my head about it's unsafe, and I didn't feel on edge, but I was more cautious than usual. And I've lived in London, I've lived in Paris. When I lived in Bradford 20 years ago, it was pretty dangerous place to be at times. And yet I felt that I had to be very, very cautious. And I don't have valuables on me. My phone is always zipped away, for example. I don't have necklaces hanging off me and expensive anything, or what. I don't have a watch. So, and I still, because I had that person's comment in my mind, and I needn't have worried at all. I didn't have a single issue. I didn't see a single rude, loud, drunkard, anything person. People were talking about homeless issue, and that I think it's widely known and has been for a while that there definitely isn't a homeless issue in San Francisco, and it looks like it's something that they've tried to address, and they've I don't know how well it's working or not. They've basically built these massive, almost like marquee tents. They're huge. I drove by them on the way to the airport to try and home so many of the homeless people there. So I didn't actually see many. And, why I'm saying that is not because I would have been worried or scared by them, far from it. But I think some people's impression out there is if you see homeless people, there's a real issue. You know what? When I came home the other day, we went to Chennai Express for lunch the day I came home yesterday. And I came out and there were two homeless people right outside. And I was saying to Matthew, all I've heard is don't go to San Francisco because of that, which is a very weird concept to me. And there are two poor people right outside here. And I've seen more people, homeless people in Basingstoke than I did in San Francisco. And I've been home for all of 2 hours. So my opinion is to always be cautious when you travel solo, but I don't feel that San Francisco is a dangerous place to be a solo traveler. There are obviously places you would not walk down in the dark on your own, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to do it in your own home, your own city, etc. I was always cautious when I lived in London in the evenings, and Plymouth. There are some crazy Devonians out there. I know that's a long-winded answer, but I feel quite strongly about the way people portray places because they saw something online. They haven't been there, but they saw something or they read something. So always be cautious as a solo traveler. But San Francisco was not a place I felt unsafe. In fact, I forgot that person's comment very quickly after arriving, and I was very emotional very quickly being in San Francisco. I just felt it very welcoming, and the people I came into contact with were very kind, very inquisitive. I just thought it was lovely. I really did. Yeah, there are some parts of the city that don't look as nice, but hello, large cities, that's quite standard, I think, personally. So I would recommend it for any solo travelers. And as always, just be cautious and don't travel with lots of valuables, etc. when you're out and about. That's my advice. In January in San Francisco, my goodness me, how quiet it is. Wow. Early evening, walking back to my hotel along Fisherman's Wharf. I couldn't see us. I took some pictures as the sun was setting. You can't see anybody. It was ridiculous. Off peak, nice. Right, long-winded answer, but important as well, actually. Okay, people are thanking Mary, which I thank her as well. Dickie Dyer, have you said on Carnival cruise ships? No, and I was looking at one today. I'm thinking about booking one in August, actually. It's called Carnival Miracle. I was like, oh my God, that doesn't bode well. And I looked at images of it, and it looks very nice, actually. It's sailing from Dover in August, and I mean, it's going to most places I've been before. So it's going to Liverpool, for example, back at Holyhead, Douglas. That's the Isle of Man, isn't it? Is that right? Can someone just clarify? Douglas, is that the Isle of Man? Belfast, Cove, all familiar to me. It's 9 nights. I like the look of the ship. I like the look of it. Sorry about that train. So being pensive, the answer is no, but that might change this year. I quite fancy having a go, to be honest with you. I've got Margaritaville coming up in May. I can't wait. I think it's going to be fabulous. Fabulous fun. I really do. Right. Simon, absolutely, Donna. It's a very safe city. Just take the usual precautions, but I've never had problems and I've visited many times. Simon is a great person to ask. Simon is incredibly well traveled, and I trust Simon's opinion very much. And I think he was able to say in 3 lines what took me 5 minutes. I was just being emphatic, you know. Okay. Question from Mr. Naughty Port Green. Did I find out how much Tabasco is the right amount to add to a Bloody Mary now? So, yes. Although it depends on the size of the Bloody Mary. Don't forget that. That's very important. So most, I can't believe I know this. I'll do the hand movement as well. Most bartenders, mixologists put like 3. This is what they tell me. This consistent has been about 3. I have to do at least 6 to 8 at least for me to be happy. But what I found out is the other thing that makes a good Bloody Mary, after hating them all my life, they've got to be ice cold. You've got to have a good amount of ice. The first one on Princess just had a bit of ice on the top. I'm like, oh no, then it's a bit too soupy then, you know, a bit sort of room temperature soupy. Oh, no, thank you. So that had to go back. More ice, more ice, more ice, more Tabasco. There you go. Thank you for that. Mary says lots and lots, real spicy. Yes. It requires 6 to 8 shakes to make it spicy. And then anything after that is because you're like me and like a lot more. Young at Sea, as you are now planning to go on Queen Mary 2 again, have you decided which of the Cunard ships that you have tried do you like the most? Queen Mary 2, we are going on it again, actually. Matthew and I are going on it later this year. I will release the schedule. Release the schedules, like release the Kraken, sorry. We are going back on board already. Queen Mary 2 is unique. But I loved Victoria as well. So I don't have a favorite amongst the fleet. Victoria is very different from Queen Mary 2, but both have their place in my cold little heart. Okay. Richard says, friends are going on the exact same cruise. This has been invaluable for them. They can't wait for the whole vlog. Oh, you're welcome. Who are your friends? What are their names? I look out for them. Or you get in touch with me and tell me if they had any questions or what they thought, etc. And I hope they have an amazing time. Please wish them an amazing time on my behalf. A quick sip of this. Please don't forget your thumbs up if you can. John, a question. Are there any ships you said you wouldn't sail on? I don't think so. I've said that it would be the only way I'd be able to go back on Ambassador is if I knew I was going to have a table to myself, or if I were traveling with someone, I knew that I'd have a table with them, and I wasn't constantly being forced to sit with people breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That was the main thing from Ambassador. I'm not booking any P&O because they still haven't even remotely tried to get in touch with any of those us affected. 1.2 years in, which is absolutely outrageous, beyond outrageous. They're still ignoring us. So I have people message me every week still about that, who were on those flights every week without fail, asking what to do next and how P&O are ignoring them. It's just, and Malif obviously ignoring them. It's outrageous. Some people have started taking legal action. Some people I know have been successful in the legal action as well, as you would expect, because the people haven't done anything wrong. The cruise company and Malif have done something wrong. If that weren't happening with P&O, there aren't any P&O ships I wouldn't go on again. Although I wasn't a great fan of Aurora and Arcadia this last year, it just didn't work, which was really sad. Can anyone think of a cruise ship I said I'd never go on again? I don't think so. Costa Toscana has many positives, although it wasn't 100% for me, as you'll see if you haven't watched the vlog that is now live and kicking for you. Part 2, definitely things deteriorate a bit, but I wouldn't say never. I can't think of any. No, maybe some of you know that there are some that I wouldn't do, and please do post your comments. I would happily hear. I forget these sorts of things, you know. Why would people say you will see homeless people? They're people. I know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think maybe what some people meant was, if there is a homeless problem, that's indicative of a city that has inherent problems or something internal that's not working. Maybe that's what they mean. I don't know. I have to be honest with you, I didn't pursue any line of questioning about that with anybody, because I thought that would end in war and tears. So yeah. Okay, let's see if I can go back. Disco is newer than Regal and Sky. That's what I thought. Thank you for confirming. Lost Shores answering people's questions about solo or single cabins. They charge less supplement. Yes. You know what? What I've been reading online lately from some very angry people, and quite right too, is the amount they find themselves paying as a solo passenger. And what I find is everyone is now saying, not everyone, sorry, a lot of people posting and saying it's always double. It's not always double, by the way. It's not. And then when I've sort of suggested some itineraries to those people, they're like, oh, no, I want to go on that ship and I want to go out on that cruise on that week. So they're not able to or not willing to be flexible. And therefore, in their minds, it's always double. It's often double, but it isn't always double. If you think all of my solo cruises that I do are all double, you would be wrong, because I wouldn't be paying that amount every time I go solo. I can assure you that now. I don't have that much money to be doing that regularly, I can promise you. So let's say you have to look more carefully. And I think Lost Ashore is correct in that some cruise lines, you know, they have those solo cabins. Like Virgin Voyages, actually, I was looking at that today for August. They had a really good solo deal, actually. It certainly wasn't double, I can promise you that. And it came with all sorts of perks as well. Okay. Yeah, if you go to the post office, it can be 1 to 2 weeks, Tony. I don't have that long. Absolutely, I don't have that long. I need to get my passport so that I can then apply for my visa for India for a start. And I need to also get another ESTA for the US, since I'm getting a new passport. I have things that are hinging on getting this passport, and I'm not prepared to sit waiting, hoping that it's going to happen. Like the Indian visa can take 5 days for a start. So hopefully Tony's talking to all of you in terms of how that can speed things up. Me, I need it done on the day. Angela, hopefully Lost Ashore has answered that question. Some cruise line, I know Fred Olsen have started a new kind of scheme, which is when they release cruises for the first time, solo passengers, if you book within a certain number of weeks of it being launched, you'll get the same price as people, the double occupancy cabins. So whatever one person pays is what you would pay. And they are honoring that for a number of weeks after launching. So it's worth keeping an eye out for those sorts of things. One of the things you can as well do is if you go into Igloo and you pop in the month or the actual date you want to travel, you can filter for single solo passengers to see all the prices, or leave it and then you can compare the solo price with normal double occupancy prices. I find that very helpful. That's what I do when I'm looking for good deals. I don't just say I'm going on, that's the cruise I want, that's the date I want it. Oh my God, I can't believe they're charging double. I can't do anything. You need to be, if you can, a little bit more flexible than that, unfortunately. But when I did my last interview with Sail Away magazine, and they said, what's the one thing about cruising that needs to change? I'm sure some of you saw that because you mentioned it to me in messages. I don't even remember even thinking about it. I think I just went, solo passenger occupancy supplements. It's the first thing that came to mind. So it does need attention still. Absolutely. Right, let me keep scrolling. Oh my God, it's 1 hour 6. How the hell did that happen? I've been chatting away, haven't I? Blimey, putting the world to right as always. Someone's weird. Who's weird? Chris Clifford felt very safe. Mandy said San Fran is certainly not a dump. Yeah, I agree with you folks. I mean, there's so many absolutely stunning places, really beautiful. Simon said San Francisco is beautiful. I agree. Debbie Downers should keep quiet, especially when you're already there. Yeah. Does this happen to any of you? Maybe some of you have posted this below. Let's just check. Jono says it's annoying when people say disparaging things about where you're traveling. I've had friends say things about places I've been to on holiday too. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? I find maybe it's just because I would never do that to someone. I'm like, I don't want to burst your bubble. If you're having a good time and you're enjoying yourself, that makes me happy. Surely that's the goal, isn't it? That they're happy. Mandy, yeah, kind of a bubble burst. Yes, bubble buster, indeed. Let's try and get the thumbs up to 200. Yes, please. Don't think we're going to do it today. You're obviously also engrossed. You can't click on the thumb. David Webb makes suspect people maybe have never been and they just like to be negative. Yes. Now this is interesting. A very nice lady actually on Facebook. She commented on my pictures of Waikiki in Hawaii, not far from Honolulu, and she said how disappointed she was with it. And I thought, oh gosh, okay. She said it's so small. I'm like, it's 2 miles long. And she said, oh, I never got off the bus and we were just driving. And I thought, this is what happens. People don't experience something. I mean, actually, I've been along that road. You can't even see the beach or a lot of the beach from the road. There are tall buildings there. So you must have just caught a glimpse of something and then made her mind up that it's rubbish. I mean, my mind was blown. So when I said to her, oh, it was 2 miles, she's like, oh, I didn't know that. I was on a bus. I didn't get off. So don't form an opinion then. Look, it's like foaming at the mouth. It's okay. I'll have media training soon, so I won't foam at the mouth or something like that. Audrey, San Francisco felt very safe. We loved the area around Fisherman's Wharf. It's so cute and retro and quaint. I love it. Mandy says it can be anywhere. Absolutely. Ian, you should cruise out of Boston or Charleston. I've been to Charleston. Ian, you have seen that vlog, I hope. I loved it. Boston, yes, that's definitely on my list. Boston is definitely on my list. I I don't know how to say that. Heidi G. How do I say your name? San Francisco is one of the best cities in the world. One of my favorites. I would agree. Mark and Seema, S&M. Sorry. Are you considering any new Disney parks, Shanghai or Tokyo? Well, Tokyo, actually, yeah. Whilst I will definitely go back to Orlando, of course I will. Tokyo is the one that is on my list. I've done the one in Hong Kong. Although when I went to Hong Kong, I used to do my just point and film vlog with some music, so it was very short, and I've got Hong Kong Disneyland on that vlog. But I'd like to do Tokyo. Yeah, I've done the one in California. Matthew and I went there, Disneyland, and that was great as well. DYDD Dorney, Danwe, did you don't. We are looking at a cruise. I'm sorry, that must have sounded very weird. You try and read some of these names out loud. We've never booked air travel and cruise separate. Oh, okay. How long do you leave between the flights and cruise leaving generally? Well, first of all, I think booking separately can save you over £1,000 per person. That's what I have found when I've been researching. That's a lot of money, 1,000 each. Some of these cruise lines are adding on that much money. Some of the cruise lines are charging you for airfare when they don't even have a schedule yet. The airlines, they're just making a guess, and they never change them, even when the airfares are lower. It's a bit naughty. So the way I do it is it depends. It depends where you're sailing from. So sailing from San Francisco to Hawaii, for me, I'm like, well, I want to see some of San Francisco or more of it than I did when I was there last time. So I'll be there for 2 days. That also sort of safeguards any delays with your flight as well, or God forbid you need to book onto another flight for whatever reason. So somewhere long distance like that, I would definitely be going out 2 days before. When I go to Australia, I am booking my flight separately, and I will be flying out 2 to 3 days before because there are things I want to see. Having said that, if I were sailing out of Barcelona, for example, I personally would fly in the day before. I'd stay one night. That's what I would do. As a minimum. I mean, I love Barcelona, but I've been so many times and I lived in Spain, so I wouldn't necessarily feel a need to be there for 2 nights, but I would fly out the day before. But you know what? When I sail out of anywhere in the UK, I nearly always stay the night before as well. I don't know about some of you folks. When I sailed out of Liverpool, I'm not traveling up to Liverpool and getting on the ship on the same day. No. I'm there the night before. Even Smelly Old Southampton, it's not even that far from me, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Still go down the night before. In fact, the one time I decided not to was before Caribbean Princess to Northern Norway, and I got stuck on the train. There were major issues for some reason, and the conductor wasn't communicating with us, didn't tell us why we'd been sat for over an hour, not a single word. And I was starting to get panicked on that one. And I remember saying to Matthew, I'm never doing this again. I'm always coming down the day before, even though we only live up the road. Tony, more worried about getting tipping right. I think it's really easy, other than safety. Yeah. Tipping is easy because it tells you normally on your checks 3 different percentages and how much therefore the tip is and how much the total bill will be. It tells you everything. Or if you're paying by card, it's got all the options on the screen and you just click the one you want. So that's just in case anyone's worried about tipping in the US. I think it's very easy. Jono said, yes, it's the Isle of Man. Thank you. You say lol. I'd never heard of Douglas. I'd never heard of it, and I've never been to the Isle of Man. People are thanking each other. People are agreeing with each other. Gosh, it's 1 hour and 30. I'm going to go in a minute, I promise you. Nana Kim loves traveling. We fly to Miami next week for the first cruise on Emerald Princess. Oh, I've done Emerald. Staying a few days before the cruise. What should we do in Fort Lauderdale? Oh, Fort Lauderdale, I don't necessarily think there's a lot there. It has very nice beaches. I believe you can travel around Fort Lauderdale through the little sort of waterways as well, little taxis. But otherwise, you're talking maybe some little taxi boats, beach life. pool life in Fort Lauderdale, unless anyone's got any other major tips that you can do in Fort Lauderdale. Choo choo, horseradish makes best Bloody Mary. Yes, I have heard that as well. Eugenia, that's interesting because I've got a friend called Catherine who said exactly the same thing. Catherine from Ohio. It's not you. You're not calling yourself Eugenia, are you? Is that you, Catherine? Is that you, Catherine? Mandy never thought of that. Crikey, very hot. Yes. I've got so many comments I'm going to miss on mine. I really do have to go. You hated Celeb Silhouette. I didn't hate it. There were lots of positives, but it didn't make me want to go back on board. But I will go back on board at some point. I just needed some distance. The thing with Celebrity, and I have been looking, is it's just really expensive for solo passengers for what you get, knowing how expensive it is on board as well. So I didn't hate Silhouette, but when people ask me about my least sort of favorite experiences, that would be one of them. What's the best and most luxurious cruise? I don't think I've really done luxurious cruises. I've been on Viking. That was luxurious. Maybe other people can. Lots of people there saying do Seabourn, Azamara. It's on the way to luxury, isn't it? What do people recommend for luxury? I haven't done them. Viking was probably the most luxurious I've done, and it was awesome. It was excellent. But of course, you're going to do luxurious. You're going to pay more. So hopefully you get what you pay for. See, that's the thing with Celebrity. I didn't get what I paid for on Celebrity. That was my main gripe with Celebrity. No, I didn't see the building where they supposedly did what for Hawaii Five-0 film it, or it's tiny in real life. Well, I'm tiny as well, Ian. I didn't actually see that, Ian. No. If you haven't been to Vancouver, Hazel says, go early. When you say early, what do you mean by early? You mean in the morning, like visit in the morning, or you mean in the year? Lots to see from there: Whistler, Roke Bridge, Vancouver Island, etc. Yeah, I'll be spending at least 2 to 3 days there. I would have thought. I will say, when I've looked at hotel prices in Vancouver, oh my god, it's been quiet, Kuchingarama. Right, one more minute and then go. Matthew wondered what's happened to me. Taking a cruise, Coral Princess at Fort Lauderdale in November. Any tips to choose? Oh, someone else has said about Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to say again, I've been to Fort Lauderdale and it's pleasant, but I don't feel like it's somewhere I would go unless I just wanted some beach and pool life. Maybe that I've got that wrong. Tony did hate Silhouette. You want me to go on Celebrity? Okay. Thank you. You might be aware that I felt like it was overpriced for what I received on my last Celebrity cruise, but I do need to go on it again. Luxury Brittany Ferries. Okay. Am I going on a cruise in April? Can I recommend Queen Vic to Portugal? No, I'm not doing Queen Vic, I don't think, in April, Darcy. I don't think. I haven't booked my April trip yet. Maybe I will, actually. Maybe I will. I do like Queen Vic a lot. 14th of April, and that is around the time that I'm looking to go away in April. So I shouldn't have said no there, should I? It's just I had some other things in mind for April, but let's not discount it. I apologize. Petra, Silhouette for us was awful. Oh God. Oh my goodness me. Okay, I am going to go now. Hopefully I've covered a fair few comments. It was good to see you all. I hope to see you all next Monday. I'm going to be at school next week helping do exams. I'm doing 5 days of exams to help out. But I clock off at 3 o'clock because I'm not a teacher anymore. And then back I come. So I will hopefully see you all next Monday evening. And the following Monday, I should be able to do 3 Monday Night Lives. Thank you, as always, for your time. Thank you for your questions, your good humor, your bad humor, your mediocre humor, and everything in between. Adios, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Take care. And I love all of you tonight, apart from you right there. Mwah. Bye.